I'm Jose Mourinho. I know a thing or two about being special. Being on the front cover of Rolling Stone magazine? Special. Winning the daily jackpot on Paddy Power Games? Not special.
Understood, Jose. Yes, someone wins the average £25,000 daily jackpot every single day. So if you win, don't think you're special. Daily Jackpots by Paddy Power Games. Jackpots must be awarded by 11 p.m. and vary from day to day. Jackpot is shared with other operators. Available on selected games. T's and C's at paddypower.com. 18 plus begambleaware.org.
Go Loud presents Opinions Matter with Adrian Kennedy.
You're very welcome to this latest Opinions Matter podcast.
Hi, my name is Mary. I had heard about the benefits of CBD oil from a friend and decided to give it a try. At the time, we had both hit the menopause and had begun taking HRT to alleviate our symptoms. Unfortunately, we still had issues with our sleep quality and its duration. I've definitely seen a vast improvement in the last few months. I'm sleeping much better and hardly experience any sleep terrors. I would really recommend trying CBD oil in conjunction with your HRT.
And if you would like to get your hands on some CBD oil, I have some great news for you, because our show sponsors, Greenheart CBD, are offering all Opinions Matter followers the opportunity to get a 20% discount on CBD products. So across their entire range on the website at greenheartcbd.ie, you could get a 20% discount. It's very simple. Here's what you do. You go to their website, greenheartcbd.ie. You find the product that you want to buy, and then at checkout, you use the promo code podcast2022. Okay, you just put that in the promo code section, podcast2022. And that will immediately take 20% off your bill before you pay. It's a really great idea from Greenheart, and we thank them very much for enabling you to get a 20% discount on all CBD products. So once again, you go to greenheartcbd.ie. And Greenheart, by the way, are Ireland's multi-award-winning CBD oil. And when you find what you want to buy, you go to checkout and you use the promo code podcast2022, and you will get a 20% discount there and then, just like that. So what do we want to talk to you about on this latest Opinions Matter podcast? This is an interesting one. Is stealing ever justified? We all know it's wrong, and we all know it's against the law, but is there ever a good enough excuse for stealing? Would you have compassion for someone who stole necessary items for their family because they couldn't provide them themselves? Or is a crime, and do they deserve to be judged and even named and shamed? Well, we were contacted by a regular listener to Opinions Matter, a guy called Paul, last night on Facebook in relation to a story that he came across this week here in Dublin. And we want to get your reaction to what Paul has to say. So here's what Paul wrote to us. And by the way, you can contact us through our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Adrian K and Jeremy D. Anyway, hello, Opinions Matter, writes Paul. I saw on a couple of news sites recently a story about a mother from Dublin who stole €44 worth of toys from a toy shop for her kids for Christmas. And I was shocked that so many people were upset with the journalists for printing the story and naming the woman, and even with the judge for finding the woman who robbed the goods. I'm a shop owner, not a toy shop, and I'm really struggling with business at the moment, as are many business owners as a result of this pandemic. So to see people almost saying it's okay to break the law under certain circumstances is beyond frustrating. I understand that this woman was struggling financially, but that does not make it okay to steal. And anyone who does, regardless of their circumstances, deserves to be punished and named and shamed. I couldn't believe the comments on Facebook from people who were actually upset about this woman being named and shamed, and even for being fined by the judge for what she did. They were literally justifying theft and feeling sorry for this woman. He goes on to say, I'm writing to you because I really am furious with the reaction from people. Do these people really believe stealing is okay if someone is struggling financially? What about business owners like myself that are struggling to make ends meet? I'm glad this woman was caught and was punished and was named and shamed. If you break the law, you deserve all the consequences. End of story. Am I on my own here? That's a bit of a rant. Now, Katie, what?
There'll be disagreements.
There'll be disagreements.
Yes.
Okay, I actually found the story that he's referring to, and I want to read this story from the Sunday World website.
I just, for the purpose of this conversation, I don't think it's fair to name the woman. She's named
in the article.
I know, but I don't think, I don't agree with naming her. Yeah, she shouldn't have done it, but, this is obviously a woman who was down big time in a shitty place to do that. She did not feel good going in and doing that, I guarantee you.
Well, let me just read the story.
Just keep her name out of it. For now. Let's just see how people feel.
Okay, well, a mother of 4 who shoplifted toys in the run-up to Christmas has been fined. Blankety Blank, I'm going to call her for now, because I have her name, but she's 41 years of age, was not of great means when she carried out the theft at a Dublin toy shop. Judge Brian Smith fined her €200 when she appeared in Dublin District Court. The woman from Tala pleaded guilty to stealing 3 LOL surprise toys worth a total of €44 from the store, as well as a €2 bag from another shop. The court heard on December 14th, Gardaí were called to the Square shopping centre in Tala, where the accused was detained by security after stealing a bag from the Tiger shop. It was also established that she had taken 3 items from Smith's toy store in Tala. The woman had passed all points of payment and failed to pay for them, so she blatantly robbed them. Now, the issue here is, firstly, that she was named. A lot of people believe that she shouldn't have been named, that the Sunday World shouldn't have even covered the story.
What annoys me so much about her being named is this woman's name was splashed all over the place. Yet we have 2 evil little shits who could brutally murder a schoolgirl and forever have their identities protected.
Okay, but that's a separate conversation.
It's a separate conversation. In the context of everything, let's look at it. She stole. Yes, she shouldn't have stolen anything. We all know it's against the law. Stealing is wrong. Blah, 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 blah. It's one of the first things you learn when you're growing up and your mommy tells you you're not to take anything. It's stealing. It's wrong.
Yeah.
We all know it. But this woman must have felt shit going in and having to do that. Let's face it, she didn't nab herself a Michael Kors bag or a pair of Louis Vuittons or a Rolex watch. She robbed 3 toys that were no doubt for her kids for Christmas. And I'm even take the adult out of this. Or maybe I'm gone soft since I had kids. I am gone soft since I had my own kids. My opinion has changed on so many things since I have had kids. But, I look at my kids and I know I would do anything for them. And for all you know, that toy could have been the one thing that her little girl, I'm assuming a girl, could be a boy, that her child wanted for Christmas. And, and let's not forget where toys...
Okay, no,
I've no argument with the fact... Christmas.
Yeah.
That child goes back into school and her friends all got one. There is an immense pressure on parents.
Okay, I mean, this is... it's petty theft, right? In that there were 3 LOL surprise toys, which is a thing that you open it up and there's a little doll inside it, right? It was petty theft. It was probably opportunistic theft. She just saw them there. Oh, grand, I can get away with this. However... I don't think it was opportunistic. However... the fact of the matter is that had the judge said, God love you, you poor old thing, you're struggling, off you go, and let her walk out of the court without fining her €200, what lesson has she learned? Nothing, except, I got away with it this time, I'll go and do it again.
No, she stole, she broke the law, she should be punished, but I think putting her name everywhere.
If I appear in court, in fact, when I did appear in court, I was named in the papers, so... That's what happens. There should be, I know it's what happens, but I think there should be circumstances where people say, a little bit of compassion, not even for her, but for her kids. She has, 4 children, whose mother was obviously trying to do something for them. It wasn't as selfish. Now, I know no stealing is good, but it wasn't for selfish reasons. Let me just read another bit of the article. She's a lone parent of 4 children, okay? And her lawyer asked the judge to take into account the fact that the items stolen were toys and the accused was not someone of great means. So in other words, she hasn't a pot to piss in, God love her, and that the judge should take into account the fact that they were toys. Does it really matter what they were?
But there's 2 sides to this.
The fact is she robbed.
But she did it. She didn't rob for herself. She did it because, for all you know, that child could have been in her ear, Mommy, I really want this. And she's probably looking at her bank account and she could be living hand to mouth. every week. You know, literally on the breadline, can't afford anything. And she's probably thinking, you know, my kids are going to go back to school in January and I have nothing for them. She must have been in a bad place.
Well, those toys, by the way, weren't their main Christmas present.
But you don't know that.
They weren't.
You don't know that.
It was an opportunistic theft. She saw them.
You're speculating. You don't know that. I don't think it was. No, I don't think it was. The fact that she went in and there was 3 toys she went for. Look, regardless of the situation, as it said in the court, she's not she's struggling financially. You know, she obviously, and I'm not condoning stealing, it's wrong. You know, it's...
Well, you kind of are. You're saying we should feel sorry for her.
I'm not saying we should feel sorry for her. I think there's some... Have a little bit of compassion.
Okay, we have loads of charitable organisations, like, for example, St. Vincent de Paul, which in the run-up to Christmas help people who are down on their luck. And they do fantastic work. Why couldn't she have turned to St. Vincent de Paul?
But you don't know, maybe she did, and maybe they were helping,
as well.
Maybe they were helping her in different ways. I don't know. All I'm saying is that this wasn't a woman who went and stole a load of booze and, you know, brand name.
So therefore, you're saying that there are certain types of theft that are justifiable.
Not justifiable.
If that was the case, the shops would give them away free.
That we should have a human outlook on and have a bit of compassion. This woman stole 3 toys for her kid, and whether it's €1 or €100 or €1,000, stealing is wrong. We all know that. But she stole toys for her kids for Christmas. And I'd say to have to go in and do that, I'd say would make you feel pretty damn shit about yourself.
Okay, let me ask you another question then. Anybody who appears in courts are public places. Yes. The public are entitled to go in. So therefore, journalists are entitled to report somebody's name when they appear in court. Yeah. It's happened to me, and that's just the way it is. Now, you also have an issue with the fact that I have that woman's name on my screen here, and you don't want me to read it out.
I don't want you to name her, no, because it's a woman who is down on her luck. And you know, the fat cats in this country walking around with their big paychecks, you know, with their big pensions, who'll never have to worry about. They have no idea what people on the bottom, people like this, what it's like to live in these circumstances. Yes, stealing is wrong, but you know, when there's kids in the situation, I think it changes things. She obviously didn't want to. You do anything for your kids. We all know. Every single one of us listening here now who has kids would do anything for your kids. And she may have felt that she had no way else to do it. And she didn't want to see the disappointed look on her kid's face on Christmas. And it could be the one time of the year that the kids get a treat, or this could be the one toy that they've wanted all year round.
Okay, so I'm reading
why Santa didn't bring them what they want.
I'm reading one comment here and it says, Adrian, don't name her. Enough is enough.
I would agree. I'd love to know whether or not other people agree with that. Whether or not you agree with this woman being named in public in this way. The article, I mean, you can go and find it for yourself. It was on the Sunday World, written by Andrew Phelan. And it clearly names her, gives her address and everything else. But the question that we're asking is... and this comes back to the original message that we got from Paul. He is so annoyed that people are saying, oh, God love her, because he runs a shop himself and he, as a businessman, is struggling himself. And he's arguing people don't take this sort of thing into account, that businesses struggle. So just because she happened to rob from Smith's toy store isn't a justification for her robbing. Or is it? I'd love to hear from you on this. You can send us a WhatsApp right now to 085 825 2626. That's 085 825 2626. Is there ever a justification for robbing? I mean, that's the simple question that we're asking. Is there ever a justification for robbing at any time? Let's have a listen to this WhatsApp voice note from Connor.
How's it going, lads? Haven't been on since the New Year, so Happy New Year. Now, listen, Adrian, you mentioned something that why didn't she turn to Vincent de Paul? People's pride get in the way. They don't want to have to ask for help, and the cross is probably the thought to rob these toys just kind of crossed our mind in the spur of the moment. You know what I mean? People are down on their luck. And she hasn't got any previous. I just can't understand people being named for something like that. You know, I think there should be rules and regulations with regard to the circumstances in which you should be naming people. But you know, like that goes without saying. You don't condone people stealing, but you know, you'd have to probably give her a little bit of a pass and just make sure that she doesn't do something like that again, or she will be punished, you know.
Send me a WhatsApp right now to 085 825 2626, like Sinead just did.
Katie, you are justifying stealing. I mean, Christmas comes around every year. You could say 50 cent or euro a week to make up the cost for the lol doll and the other items that the woman stole. There's plenty of organisations. Every year I do a drive for the homeless, and I donate toys to St. Vincent de Paul. It's just there's no you're justifying stealing, and by justifying it and certain circumstances being okay to steal, where does the line get drawn then? You know, you basically, by not punishing this woman, you're giving a green light to others. If it just went by and she was excused for doing what she did, it was wrong. I feel for her, but it was wrong.
Okay, feel for her, but it was wrong, and you are justifying
she's
theft.
saying exactly what I just said. Feel for her. Stealing is wrong. I said that. I didn't say, well, if you've no money. Justifying stealing is saying it's okay to steal if you're broke.
Okay, but again, I'll go back to the point about why do you not want me to name this woman then?
Just because she's gotten her punishment. She's taken her punishment, okay? She's done.
But anybody who appears in court can be named.
She's taken the time. Okay, she's not in prison, but she's doing what she's supposed to be doing. I just think, you know,
Well, I don't know if she paid the fine yet, by the way, but...
Well, I would assume she did, but it's more for the kids. I'm just thinking about the innocent children in this. She stole to give her kids toys, and that's not okay, and it's not right. But I just think from the human element, I feel sorry for somebody who feels that they have to do that to give their child a present for Christmas.
And in fact, here's another message. Because this woman appeared in court, her 4 children may know that she appeared in court. And Donna says, what message are you sending to your kids if you're caught robbing toys for Christmas? Learn to say no if you can't afford to buy things.
Okay, that's fair enough. Yeah, it's definitely not an example to be sent to your kids. Learn to say no. That's easier said than done when you have kids. I don't know if this person has children, but I'm lucky I don't have kids of an age that they're asking for anything for Christmas yet. But I can't imagine the pressure that is on parents at Christmas time to get their kids what they want, because then you have the kids in the classroom who get it all, and the other children saying, well, why didn't I get this? Does Santa not like me as much? Was I not as good? It is a tough one. I'd never condoned stealing. Stealing is wrong. It's fact. But I think there is a human element.
But you do feel sorry for this woman, and you don't want me naming her and everything else.
If it is as simple as she genuinely did not have the money and her kid was in her ear asking her for this, then yeah, I do feel sorry for her. You know, if it is that black and white, then yes, I would have sympathy towards her. Now, where am I going? Sandra, you're on Opinions Matter. How are you, Sandra?
Hi, Adrian, and hi, Katie. How are you?
Good, thanks, Sandra. Well, what did you want to say on this?
Right, I want to say that poor old, when I say poor old girl, you know exactly what I'm going to say. My heart does go out to her, because she must have been that bloody desperate to happen to do that. That poor old girl, I don't know her from Adam. She probably didn't want to do it.
And you won't know her from Adam because Katie doesn't want me to name the woman either.
No, and I think she's 100% right, because that woman has learned her lesson. And, you know,
has she? Has she learned her lesson?
I think she has. Yeah, by naming and shaming her on newspaper, I think she has. Like, my poor old heart goes out to her, and nobody here has questions to say where was the father. Now, maybe the father has passed on.
Well, because I can't name her, I can't give you the answer to that. I'm not allowed to name her. Katie won't let me. Even though, by the way, there would be nothing illegal in me naming her on this podcast. Okay, she appeared in court. It's on the public record.
Okay, I believe in freedom of speech, and I don't believe in censorship or anything like that. So let's leave it up to the listeners to decide whether she's named or not, okay? I'm not going to say don't name her. Let's leave it up to the listeners. Let the listeners decide. If you think she should be named, tell us now. If you don't, tell us, and we will take it up at the end, see what everyone thinks, and go on that.
Okay, send us a WhatsApp with your opinion. Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Send us a WhatsApp with your opinion to 085 825 2626. The story is on my screen in front of me here. I have the woman's name. She's 41 years of age. She's from Tala. I can name her right now if you think that is appropriate.
No, definitely not.
Definitely not.
Definitely not. Sorry, Adrian. I'm eating my dinner while I'm talking to him. It's very rude.
Is it nice?
Beautiful.
That's good.
But anyway, Sorry, what I was trying to say is that, like, I know that the girl did do wrong. She knows that herself. But,
can I just say to you, Sandra, a part of the legal process involves being people being named when they appear in court, and it's part of the humiliation of appearing in court.
It's humiliating the kids though as well. What about her poor children? Imagine your mom. Just Adrian,
hang on,
just for
she
a
didn't
second,
think of her poor children when she went into the shop to rob.
Let me just put a situation to you for a second. Imagine you are 10 years old and you really want this toy, and you're on to your mom. I really want it, and she's broke, but she says, right, I have to go into a shop and I have to do this. It's the only way of getting it for him. Now, let's say that she's named all over the place, and you've a couple of years later you're reading back, and you realise, oh fuck, that was my mom stealing to get it for me. How would you feel?
Awful.
Think of the kids.
But
won't somebody think of the children?
But these things have consequences. And the fact, you're saying the child could have been wrecking her head. The fact of the matter is she robbed 3 of these things, not just one. So what, it was 3 kids wrecking her head because they all wanted an LOL surprise parcel. No.
I just think I don't think anybody, for the crack or because anybody who has the money there to waste would go and risk that kind of embarrassment and shame for the sake of 40 quid. She must have been in a very bad way, and she must have been felt absolutely shit doing it. She robbed a €2 bag. She didn't even have €2 for a bag. I know it's against the law. I know it's crap and nobody should do it. But at the end of the day, we're all human. We all make mistakes. We all do things we shouldn't do. And that mud sticks. That will stay with her for life. And some people will say she deserves it, but that woman will probably never get a job again if she ever had one or wanted one. That will follow her around till the day she dies.
So you are feeling sorry for her then?
I just feel sorry. I'm so sorry for the kids. Imagine your mom having to go in and steal your Christmas present.
She didn't have to.
But she probably felt that she had to.
3 of these things. 3 LOL surprise packages.
I know I'd do anything for my kids. Okay, now Christmas, I would make sure I had the money. I wouldn't do stealing. I would make sure I'd do whatever I had to do to get the money within reason. But it's just the kids I feel sorry for.
All right, let's bring in more calls on this. 085 825 2626. Lauren, you're on Opinions Matter. How are you, Lauren?
Hey, Adrian. Yeah, no, I don't agree with it. You have 52 weeks on the way up to Christmas. A week for 52 weeks, and you have €1,040. It's plenty. Now, I was in the situation where that woman was in this Christmas gone. My son wanted a bike and he wanted a scooter, and I was in this position where I couldn't afford to get it for him. I wouldn't go out and steal it.
But listening to Katie, you should have just gone out and stolen it because God love the child. The child needs.
You are putting words in my mouth. At no point, and I just want to say it again. I do not condone stealing.
You said a moment ago, God love her when the kids are demanding this and demanding that.
But there is a massive pressure on parents at Christmas time, and that is hard.
I don't deny that, and in fact, Lauren is testament to that.
Stealing is wrong. She has gotten her punishment. She's stood in front of the judge. She was caught. She's been shamed. Everything else. Let her pay for what she's done. There's no need, even for the kids' sake. For the kids' sake.
Okay, Lauren, you were saying that you were struggling in the run up to Christmas, but the last thing on your mind was to go out and rob some presents.
Oh yeah, no, I went to family and I went to friends and I asked for a loan of money instead of resulting in robbing. I actually got a loan off my nanny.
Lauren, maybe she didn't have that luxury of having people around her who would have loaned her money or helped her out financially. What do you do then? What if you were completely
go to the credit union?
But what if she couldn't go to the credit union? Not everybody has savings. Not everybody has accounts in these places that they can go and ask for loans. So let's put a genuine question out there. You imagine you are completely on your own. You have no family around you that can lend you money. You have kids who want presents, even if they're not asking for much, but you can't afford it. Genuinely in that situation, what do you do? And I'm not being smart. I really want to know.
I'd leave the kids without it because I'd rather the kids not wake up on Christmas morning to have presents than in a few years' time read me name in the paper from robbing stuff.
You see, that's the fact.
I would rather go without and let the kids go without. A present as a parent is more important than a few ties under the tree.
The fact of the matter is that the details of this case, whether I name her or not on this podcast today, her name is up there. It's on the Sunday World website. So her kids can read this. They can read that she was taken to
and that's why I'd
station.
leave them without presents rather than go and steal them and then possibly have them reading about me in years to come.
It's just, it is the kids I feel sorry for. Like, I mean, how can anyone say that I'd be okay leaving my kids without toys at Christmas? Because I don't think in the situation you would. Nobody wants to see that look on their child's face. Nobody wants to be the person to let their kids wake up with no toys. Yeah, it was what she did was shit, but she probably,
Yeah, but I'm sure they had more presents than just 3 LOL dolls. I'm sure there was plenty more under that tree. No, I couldn't. No, I'd rather them have nothing then and let them at that then.
Look, I'm with you. I would never steal myself personally. I would do whatever I had to do to have something for my kids. And as you say, you can start in January saving up for Christmas, it's coming, but nobody knows that she could have had a job and been let go. We were let go last year. I mean, you don't know I
didn't rob Christmas presents.
No, you didn't. But the point is that the day I found out we were being let go, I was on maternity leave still, and I was like, holy mother, I didn't see it coming. I was floored. So nobody knows what's going to happen. You can be sailing along, and everything's fine, and shit can just happen, and you're put in a position that you never thought you would be in before.
Okay, the bottom line as far as you're concerned, Lauren, is no way. Do you support the fact that she was fined €200 for this?
I don't. No, I think she got what she deserved, but I don't agree with her being named and shamed. Things like that should have been left alone.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Then you're agreeing with me. I think she deserved
her name,
to be punished, but the named I don't agree with.
The name should have been left alone. Yeah, she shouldn't have been mentioned in papers and things like that. But as far as going and robbing a few LOL toys and then having your kids read about you in years to come, will just show them that, my mammy done it so I can do it, because they probably read it at 15, 16, and still at that age, kids are none the wiser. They're still growing up, they're still in school. And in this day and age, with the way kids are growing up and what they're going through and what's going on out in the streets, they're more likely to get in trouble now than they were years ago. So they're reading things like that to say, we do it.
So as far as you're concerned, there's no excuse for doing it. It serves her right being fined, but you don't agree with naming her publicly.
Yeah, I don't agree with the name, no.
Okay, so you don't want me to read out her name?
No.
Okay. All right, great to talk to you. Thanks very much indeed.
You too, thank you.
085 825 2626, like Damien just did.
I think it's a tough situation. Like, you would have to take into account if they had previous convictions and stuff like that. So, like, if they had a previous convictions, then name them. But if not, then maybe don't name them.
Okay, now this is another part of that story that Katie doesn't want me to mention. And that is, Katie, the fact that she does have previous convictions. But this isn't a one-off.
But okay, if the previous convictions are for stealing, but we don't know they are.
No, we don't know that they are, except that she does have... I'd love to know
what the previous convictions actually are for, because if they are for stealing, then yes, she deserves to be named. I mean, once bitten, twice shy. If you're going to keep doing it and make it a thing, then yes, you should be named everywhere. If it was a once-off, a spur of the moment, kind of only thinking about the kid, not actually thinking long term about it, that's different. But
here's what the court heard, that she was taken to Pileckas station. She was of good behaviour during her arrest and detention, and she had a number of previous convictions.
I wonder what they were.
Does it really matter?
Well, if it's to do with theft, of course it matters, because then it changes everything. Then she's a serial thief, and it makes the story, it does change the story a little bit. But if the case is that this is just a woman who went in and pocketed herself a few toys for her kids for Christmas because she's struggling, I would have more compassion. I would find it very hard to feel sorry for somebody who's done it a couple of times.
Okay, now somebody who actually Googled the article, Sean, has said on our Facebook page, she had a number of previous convictions. She's clearly not learned her lesson, as she's had a number of brushes with the law. What else does he say? She's setting a fantastic example for her kids. Disgraceful, making excuses for repeat offenders. Now, when we discussed this earlier on, you asked me not to say that she had previous convictions.
Because we don't know what they are.
Yeah, I know that, but...
We don't know what the previous convictions are. If we know, actually, if you can Google her name and find out what her previous convictions were, then I will tell you, I'll tell you to call out read out her name. If you can, if we can say that that's to do with theft, I would sit here and tell you to read out her name.
Right, I'm doing this as I'm talking to you. Okay. Yeah. Okay. No, I can't actually find her specifically named. But anyway, people can Google this for yourself.
It's very hard to know, because if the case is, as I said, that she has robbed before and been caught, then yes, she should have been locked up then, and there's no excuse.
All right, let's bring in Keith.
Listen, all the people commenting on here. How many people has actually been in that situation, been down so low, actually dragging yourself into a shop to steal things for Christmas for your kids? Like, that's for somebody to do that. Take an awful lot of guts, like. In other words, could you not help the girl get a job? Like, is there anybody there to go give her a bit of support and help her and take her away from that she doesn't feel the need that she has to go in and embarrass herself? And as Katie says, there's our kids, or that girl who was on the phone says the kids won't be reading about it in years to come, what their mother was at, and then they won't be following what she done.
All right, Keith, thanks very much indeed. We have more calls in just a moment.
It's Opinions Matter with Adrian and Jeremy, where your opinion counts.
I'm Jose Mourinho. I know a thing or two about being special. Hearing your name being sung by 80,000 fans. Now that is special. Winning the daily jackpot on Paddy Power Games? Not special.
Understood, Jose. Yes, someone wins the average £25,000 daily jackpot every single day. So if you win, don't think you're special. Daily Jackpots by Paddy Power Games. Jackpots must be awarded by 11 p.m. and vary from day to day. Jackpot is shared with other operators. Available on selected games. T's and C's at paddypower.com. 18 plus BeGambleAware.org.
Now, Scott, you're on Opinions Matter. How are you, Scott?
Good, thank you. Happy New Year.
And the same to you, Scott. Thanks very much indeed. Now, what did you want to say on this?
So I naturally don't agree with resorting to theft to solve problems, in our great nation of, law and order. I think, however, just like with anything, this cannot be treated as a sort of cookie cutter crime. I think we need, a bespoke response to all sorts of, issues as individual as the criminals themselves.
Okay, now, this is a story of a mother of four from Cala who stole 3 cheap old toys out of a Smith's Toys superstore. And a lot of people have been saying, God love her, she shouldn't have been named. Things are tough in the run-up to Christmas. As Katie said earlier on, it's not like she was robbing Louis Vuitton bags or whatever. She was robbing cheap toys for
now
her
I'm very
kids.
curious to know what her priors were. I would love to know, just out of curiosity, to know if it was theft, because that would change everything. But if it wasn't theft,
if it's a consistent serial pattern of taking advantage, I don't think any of us should have sympathy. I mean, having grown up in very poor circumstances myself, with a mother that didn't do anything like that, it's unlike me to try to identify and sympathize with somebody like this. But I now run a charity with my wife that gives food to people who can't afford it.
Oh, right.
There are plenty of options. Yeah, there are plenty of options. And I've been doing this for years, since my 20s. And there.
Well, let me ask you then. You're saying that there are plenty of options, Scott. So, in the run up to Christmas, and in fact, in the court, the judge was told that she was not someone of great means. So, in other words, she was, she didn't have much money. So, what options are open to somebody like that who can't even get presents for her kid for Christmas?
No, and I can't speak specifically to them, but working for Citizens Advice Bureau, just across the sea, I know that we have grants for people, especially during COVID, for families, which I'm submitting applications for on an almost daily basis for people in her circumstances to be able to afford to live, like for food, but certainly even for provisions that we might not deem absolutely essential. So there are, so many different, maybe not necessarily accessible because you might not know about them, but options for people like her. I mean, there might not be a charity you can go and collect toys from, but believe it or not, the charity that my wife and I run, we get toys donated from in addition to 95% food from Aldi and Tesco and, all the other high street supermarket chains. And there are places, this is a venue that people like her, this thief, which, I say with a grain of salt.
Why do you say with a grain of salt?
Well, because you're right. She is a thief at the end of the day. I don't want to try to condone whether, to use your metaphor earlier, whether it was a Louis Vuitton or, Bugatti car that she stole. It is a crime at the end of the day, whether we agree with it or not.
And your argument is that there are always other alternatives to resorting to stealing.
Absolutely.
That's just the fact of it, Katie.
I at no point, you are completely missing what I said, because I did not say that anybody should steal.
No, I know you didn't say anybody should steal, but you were having sympathy for her, that she shouldn't be named because God loved her kids and all of that.
Yes, I have sympathy for her kids, and for her children I don't think she should be named, because she did this for her kids.
I didn't disagree. Yeah, I'm sorry if I made the case that... Even
people who are saying stealing is wrong are saying don't name her.
No, absolutely agree with that. I do not think that's, even if it were a car, I don't think this is somebody who's funneling, money into the county limes. I don't think that's worthwhile for anybody.
She's got her punishment. She's going to take her punishment. The law has prevailed. Why feel the need to shame her for
we just got this text and it says, for the sake of her children who are probably school-going, she should not have been publicly named. Her children could have been bullied because of this.
This how I feel. It's just
she didn't think of that before she robbed, did she?
But who's to say she's thinking
I agree with that.
Before she robbed.
This is the thing. This is a horrible segue, but you think of the sex offender that all of us might sometimes end up finding out we live next to, and they're having children, and their children being teased and abused in school because of their completely innocent connection to somebody we all find out is a serial offender in that regard. It's just as unfair to them, but that's somebody we absolutely need to know the identity of. I'm not so sure this is a threat to public welfare that requires...
Okay, so in cases like this, you believe that the media should be restricted from naming somebody like this for small-scale, almost petty theft?
Yes, sir, I do. I don't think it's appropriate here.
All right, great to talk to you, Jonathan. Thanks very much indeed. Sorry, no, that wasn't Jonathan. That was Scott. This is Jonathan.
Hi, Adrian, John here. 100% I support her name being mentioned and everything like that. Because it don't make a difference whether it's €1 or whether it's €44. You add up all them, you're practically saying to people, she'll come in and rob us. We won't do anything about it, So that €40 will come €80, and then €160, and so on and so on. There'll be never end to the people that'll be getting away with it. So look, there's so many charities out there. You have to mention a couple of them there that are more than willing to help any family, woman, single mother, single father. There's so many charities out there. You don't even have to ask them. An email will even do it, you know what I mean? So I fully support of what was said. In the end of the day, theft is theft. There's too many charities out there. We're in the year 2022, not living back in the 1950s. That's my input. Cheers.
All right, thanks very much indeed. And he's basically saying that there is no excuse. A lot of you actually do want us to name this woman, and this is where this conversation is going. You can get this woman's name just by Googling the Sunday World article, by the way, but Katie has a moral objection to me naming her.
No, I think for the kids, I don't think it's fair. But as I said earlier on, we'll leave it up to the listeners. If the listeners want her to be named, we'll let the listeners decide. So far, it's fairly divided. A lot of people are saying, no, don't name her. And a lot of people are saying, name her. I would love to know, as I said, I'd love to know what the previous convictions were.
Well, it doesn't say in any article that I've been able to find. 085 825 2626 is our WhatsApp number. Send us a WhatsApp voice note like Jay just did.
Hey, Katie, no excuse. have a bus load of kids, as you know, and you got to plan for it. If you don't have it, you just explain to the kids and you get them what you can afford. It's no excuse for going out and taking somebody else's hard-earned money. I mean, that shopkeeper, he had to buy that stock. He still has to pay his bills. If everybody went in and robbed an item off him, he wouldn't be soon about going out of business. So there's no excuse for thieving.
End of story, says Jay. There is no excuse for thieving. If you want to get involved in this conversation very quickly, 085 825 2626 is our WhatsApp number, and let us know what your opinion is on this. And a huge reaction actually to this conversation. And let me read a few more of your comments. She is named in the newspaper article. All you need to do is go and look, which is true. The kids obviously know their mother is a thief, says Angela. Another message says, if her money is being spent on other things like drugs, then on this occasion she put herself first before her kids. Now, we don't know. That's absolute speculation. And like I said, a lot of reaction coming in on this, and we'd love to hear from you as to whether or not you think this woman is being treated fairly. Now, Niamh, you're on Opinions Matter. How are you, Niamh?
Hi, Adrian. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, Niamh. Well, do you think it's fair to be naming somebody for this sort of petty theft?
I'm really torn. For the sake of our children, no. But I can't agree with what she did. I mean, I was there years ago when my daughter was small. I was a lone parent, and there was times when times were really, really tough, and I had to decide sometimes that maybe she had a big dinner and I just had a sandwich because I just couldn't afford it. But the problem is that you do, look, I do agree, you do sometimes have to say no. The amount of times I had to say no. She couldn't have the laptop. She couldn't have, the stuff that all her mates were getting. But what I did was, I went into the local toy shop in and around August.
And robbed.
And I put stuff by. No.
You see,
no. Because I was afraid of it. It wasn't because I was... I
knew you were, but robbing wasn't what you did. That wasn't the option that you took.
Because I was terrified.
Yeah, but you decided to get yourself. You decided to get yourself organised first.
You know what? I cut my cloth according to my measure, and I had to do that, and I felt like shit. I'll be totally honest. I felt like shit on Christmas mornings when I knew that she wasn't getting exactly what she asked for. She might get the cheaper alternative. Like if she asked for whatever, I remember she was big into Sylvanian families, and God, you nearly needed a rent allowance to buy one of them, to buy their houses. But what I did was I was able to put money off it and try and get there by Christmas. But I had to say to her, no, not this year. We can, and try and bring her expectations down a little bit, because I couldn't afford the laptops. I couldn't afford the big mobile phones. I couldn't. I feel desperately sorry for anyone who is in that situation. But that's like saying that everyone who's a lone parent can go in and rob.
It's interesting, actually.
People out there struggling.
When you hear, here's just one example of how people seem to justify robbing off big corporations. So, for example, this message says, a mega corporation like Smiths lost a few euro FFS. Don't be naming her. Media posting names and addresses of non-violent criminals should be banned.
But what about the big corporations who decide to punish the person behind the till? Does anyone think of that? Some big corporations, meaning that if their till is short because or if they didn't notice, the security guard didn't notice that she stole, maybe the security guard got fired. Did they ever think of that?
Yeah, well, no, they did catch her.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, but for the people they don't catch, maybe those people got fired. Maybe if it happened to, the security guards are really busy at Christmas. Maybe if it happened 3 times in a row, they're looking at the security guard saying, well, you're not doing your job. Bye-bye. And then his family has no Christmas present. The person whose till is short because somebody robbed, you know, and it doesn't add up at the end of the day. There's €40 that should have been accounted for and isn't. They're looking at the cashier. They could lose their job.
We all know that this woman did wrong. We all know she messed up. We all know she broke the law. We all know she's a criminal because she is a criminal. But I just think for the sake of her kids, she has 4 kids who are very innocent on all of this, who no doubt the mother's name has been everywhere, and no doubt even kids in their school are talking about it. Oh, your mammy, your mammy. That must be hard for the kids. And I'm just saying...
It's awfully... It's awful. It's for the kids. That's the only reason.
She should have thought of that, but at the same time, she didn't think about it. So this is the facts we're faced with, that the kids, their mother has been named everywhere for stealing a few toys from Smith's. And that's going to carry even with those kids through school, through secondary school. You can guarantee there'll be little targets on their head now as well. So I think for the protection of her children who are innocent in all of this and who will be the ones to suffer, really, I don't think naming her is particularly the right thing to do. But I do think she deserves her punishment.
No, in that situation, it wasn't the right thing to do, and only because the kids. I mean, in every other situation.
Herself, you know, she was going and grabbing herself a Michael Kors bag or, you know, a pair of Louis Vuitton shoes and they were for herself, I would say yes, absolutely, you know, name her everywhere, but there's kids involved here, and I think you do have to have a different approach, especially when what she robbed was for the kids. Imagine the slaggings those poor kids are going to get and everything in school.
All right, let me squeeze in one last call on this, and that's you, Orla. You're on Opinions Matter. How are you?
Oh, yeah. I was listening to the girl just before you. It's true. You can cut your cloth to its measure, but not everybody is as good with money as that woman would be, that last call. And naming that woman for €44, I was listening to all the opinions. I'll be on the fence now about it. But, you know, whatever. I don't know how old our kids are, but you're supposed to say, like, what's Santa getting you for Christmas and that? And then you're naming the woman saying, "Oh, your ma robbed the toys." So who brings the toys
at Christmas? That's my exact thinking on it. That's so sad.
Who brings the toys at Christmas then?
Yeah.
Your ma's a robber, and it's supposed to be Santa. You know, and Adrian, you are adamant about naming that woman.
Well, no, I'm not going to.
Are you a parent yourself?
I am a parent myself, yeah.
Yeah, well, you understand the joy and the look on your kids' faces at Christmas morning when they're ripping open the toys and saying, "Look what Santa brought me." And that poor woman was probably walking them streets, walking around. Everybody's always in a good humour at Christmas, like the Christmas spirit, and everyone's nice about it. And she was probably thinking, what can I do for the kids? I'm going to take a few things. €44. She didn't go in and carting out loads of stuff, and she took it and she says, "Right, that'll do them. That'll do it." Just say Santa had to bring to other kids. You know, I just what naming it for what? Name people out there that like are murdering boy A and boy B that are murdering that little one.
Yes, that was my exact point earlier on.
And it is a conversation for another day, but that's. To name those young fellas requires fellas requires a whole change of the law.
Yes.
That
you'd be locked up for it. You'd be charged for it.
But then you're naming that woman, and her kids are probably the same age or younger than them boys.
Yeah, no,
and
probably.
Then they have to go around, walk out their house, and go to school.
So, do you think? Let me ask you then. Do you think we should have a cut-off point below which we can't name people?
Yes, I think so. For €44, you're making headlines for that. Like. I'm sure there's plenty of criminals that are in and out the system, day in and day out. Name them and name their parents, but not this woman that just done maybe a one-off thing for, I don't know how many kids she has, I don't know how old they are. Four kids, there you go. And 44, so she would probably divide €11 each down the kids. You know, for €44, really, here, if I'm standing in line and someone in front of me doesn't have enough change, I'd say give it to them, I'll give you the extra. There's nobody has any compassion anymore.
I have to agree. I think there should be a human element here. There should be a little bit of compassion.
You're talking about
okay, regardless of whether it's €44 or €144,
there's a big difference there.
Well,
there's a big difference.
So, hang on. You see, this is where this doesn't make sense. So then Smith's just put up a sign on the door, come on in and rob, don't rob over €50 and we leave you alone. Do you know what I mean? That's ridiculous.
No, it's not. The woman, she didn't go in and pick the most expensive things and say, well, I'm going to rob, I might as well get caught for the biggest stuff. That's like going in, if you're a thief, why go in and get a cough for like €20? I might as well take something for 200. You know, I'm not condoning, like...
I think you kind of are condoning it, though. Oh, she's gone. I think she is kind of condoning it. That's just the fact of it.
It's a really tough one because, you have the law, and then you have the human element, and the side where, you kind of say to yourself, oh man, there's 4 kids at home whose mother can't afford a Christmas present. And it's not the mother I'm thinking of in this situation. I've no sympathy for her, really. It's more the kids that are, that are the children of a mother who feels that she has to do that to provide Santa.
All right, thank you very much indeed for all of your calls, comments, texts and opinions. If you enjoyed this latest Opinions Matter podcast, or even if you didn't, please hit subscribe or follow. And if you're listening to us on Spotify, you just click on the little bell icon and you'll be notified the next time we upload a brand new podcast. Thanks very much indeed for listening.
Subscribe to this podcast for free on the Go Loud app.
I'm Jose Mourinho. I know a thing or two about being special. Lunch at the restaurant and they give you dessert on the house? Special. Winning the daily jackpot on Paddy Power Games? Not special.
Understood, Jose. Yes, someone wins the average £25,000 daily jackpot every single day. So if you win, don't think you're special. Daily Jackpots by Paddy Power Games. Jackpots must be awarded by 11 p.m. and vary from day to day. Jackpot is shared with other operators. Available on selected games. T's and C's at paddypower.com. 18+, begambleaware.org.